on a cold, cold night. There was a bone-chill fright, and there was nowhere to hide, 'cause this monster's on the inside. I think you better say a prayer tonight. Welcome to the podcast. We talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows. This is Isaac. And on this bonus episode, I am joined by Cory from Haunted Mass. Sorry. What was the name of the team?
Paranormal Hunters of Mass. Paranormal Hunters of Mass.
I messed it up. The Paranormal Hunters of Mass. That's right. I messed it up. Anyway, how you doing, dude?
Good. How are you?
Good. When we did our original roundtable, you were, I think, the only urban exploration, or however you ever want to use the term, that was actually part of the group. I mean, granted, we all do a little bit of urban exploring when we do paranormal investigating, but it's not their main goal. Or really, try to go to a place that's easier access, because not every paranormal investigator has like the ability to, parkour or climb up this building or try to sneak in there or get into places that most people normally can't.
Yeah.
But I guess for people who really don't know, how would you define urban exploring?
Urban exploring. Well, exhilarating for one, but very risky. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone starting out. I mean, especially the riskier asylums and the hospitals and stuff, like you were just saying. You guys go for the easy, okay, the door's open, we're going in and haunting it, investigating it. A lot of places we do, you're climbing up fire escapes, you're jumping in windows, you're crawling in through 2x2 windows, your bag and your tripod barely fits through. Like, it's not easy.
I wouldn't suspect it to be as much. I mean, I've seen a few videos on YouTube. This is a long time ago about urban explorers, like things going wrong. Especially the most famous one I saw of a guy who like urban explored this one building over again, and he found like a bag of drugs and money. And then he heard like these two gang guys come in. He had to hide so they wouldn't find him.
Yeah. We did a train station back in 2020 when I first started. And there was actually a whole room set up with gangsters and prostitutes, like beds and grills. And they said they were living there. And they didn't mind us being there, but it caught us off guard for sure.
Jeez. Well, I know your main, I guess, I don't know if we call it, what do you do more of, urban exploring or paranormal investigating, but I guess they go hand in hand for you.
Yeah. I mean, lately I've been doing more of the urban exploring. I mean, I still hang out with my buddy and we both run the paranormal stuff. I haven't really been crazy into it like I used to be when I first started. The urban exploring and the photography kind of took over everything.
Yeah. So you haven't much in paranormal investigating much?
I mean, I did a little bit with him the other day when we went to the state school, but nothing too crazy.
Wow. Yeah, because I know like some of the places that some people can't investigate, or at least can't get to, an urban explorer like yourself probably could. So that's why I think sometimes, well, at least from what I've heard about anyway, some urban explorers actually become paranormal investigators because they do encounter stuff on times when they just want to, explore an abandoned building.
Oh yeah. Like I will never give up paranormal investigating for good. I'm just, I'm not doing it like every weekend like I was. But like, if I had an opportunity to go do a haunted, like paid tour somewhere, I would definitely do it. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say, starting off the bat here, is one of the most intense experiences you either had urban exploring with the paranormal or paranormal investigating?
Urban exploring, probably the location we just did 2 weeks ago. It's this big campus out in the middle of nowhere, and every building is trail cam, motion censored, alarmed. Like you're straight trying to Spider-Man these buildings to get up in this place, and we managed to do it and get away without setting off any alarms. But it was pretty crazy.
Jeez. And you didn't write anything paranormal?
We only did like the bowling alley and the rec center and stuff, so I don't think there was anything really paranormal there. But it it was a really bad state school from what we heard about. So I'm sure if we got into the dorms, there probably would have been.
Oh. You say state school. What do you mean state school?
Like a developmental center. They call them state schools. So pretty much it's like the asylums, but it's all separate buildings.
Oh, I grew up in Texas. We never, well, if we did, it wasn't around where I lived.
Yeah. Out in Massachusetts and New York, the most they're everywhere. Everywhere. It's either an asylum, a psychiatric center, or a state school.
And how long, I should probably ask that in the beginning, but how long have you been urban exploring?
I started the urban exploring and the paranormal, I think it was May of 2020.
Oh, okay. So
right when COVID really hit the fan.
Oh. Which is funny, I was like, most people stayed in, but you went out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because that was the point in time when the police activity at a lot of these places, there was none. They were worried about all the COVID stuff.
So yeah, less patrols, so less chance of you getting caught. Yeah,
exactly. And it was very true, because now you go back to the same places and it's like, okay, wow.
Yeah, security is higher.
We're playing cat and mouse game now.
Oh. And investigating you do at the same time, or is it's like a separate location? Like maybe one location you felt like, if I want to urban explore this more versus say a location you strictly want to investigate.
I mean, lately now it's to the point, like, I know when we talk on the paranormal roundtable, you get to places you feel energy. So when I'm in a building, if I feel something, if I hear a door slam, I'll pull the spirit box out, or I'll pull the EMF detector out, and I'll see if there's anything there. But like I said, I really haven't been like going to a location saying, okay, we're going here today to ghost hunt, to investigate. It's just like spur of the moment type of deal thing.
So you take the equipment with you when you go urban exploring?
I always keep my REM pod, my EMF detector, and a spirit box in my camera bag. Yeah.
Always got to be prepared. Yeah.
Always got to be prepared.
There's actually a long time ago, I actually wanted to try, or at least in my head, I never knew it was called urban exploring. I just wanted to go like into an abandoned building and like look around. Like maybe it's got old history, or maybe it's got like leftover this from a long time ago that someone forgot about. Just like aspects like that. Like I always wanted to go look and stuff like that. But
yeah, I mean, I never knew what it was either. I got into this first mental hospital back in May of 2020, and then I just started going on Facebook groups, and I'm like, urban exploring, abandon this, like, what is all this? Like, this whole community that we never even knew about, with millions of people from everywhere. So it's bigger than you think. I mean, back when I grew up, I was too busy motocross racing and stuff. So a lot of these kids, they started at 15, 16, but I was racing. I didn't know what it was. I wasn't just running the streets and looking for places like this.
When you go urban exploring, do you take someone with you, or is it just by yourself?
I always at least bring one other person with me. Back in December of 2020, or 21. I want to say it was 21. I broke my right ankle jumping into a building, and I was with a group, but they pretty much left me. So I felt like I was by myself. And ever since then, I said, I will never go without somebody to help me.
Yeah, that question was usually asked to me, like, if should you investigate with somebody, or is it all right to do it by yourself? And I always said you probably should bring someone with you, because some places you could go could be a little sketchy and you might get hurt. You need someone there, at least to witness what you saw, but also to make sure you get back. Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people. I know a couple people who prefer to explore alone because of the fact that you can hide easier and stuff. But as far as safety, never. It's not. It's really not.
What you say is like a must-have equipment or tool or something with you when you urban explore?
Number one on the top of the list is flashlight and extra batteries. 100%. I'm sure you know that from your investigations too, unless you want to be in the dark.
Well, I mean, it helps to see sometimes, especially when some certain places like that. But yeah, flashlight's always main to see. I've been trying to train my eyes to see in the dark for the last 10 years. I gotten pretty all right with
Yeah.
it, but yeah, flashlight is it's always mandatory. But I don't know if you like,
Sometimes with all the asbestos and the dust and everything, though, it gets harder to see.
yeah, that's another thing too. Do you bring like a mask with you, like one of those respirators?
I bring it. Do I wear it all the time? It all depends. I'll walk into a location. If it's 100% boarded to the max, then yes, I'll wear it. But if there's open windows, if there's ventilation, most of the times I don't.
Okay, so that's what goes with it. I always wonder why, like in episodes of like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, mostly Ghost Adventures, Zach would always wear a respirator. I always chalked it up the fact that over time, of all the investigations he's done in places where it had like black mold or asbestos or something, it damaged his lungs. But if a Allusia location is open air, then you're not really had to deal with that. But some like I guess you go underground or in basements where like there's no ventilation, you got to deal with that.
Well, a lot of the asylums or the state schools we do, they're boarded to the max, but they have tunnels. So if you can gain access to one building, you're in the whole complex.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is tunnels. Like the one we just did. We just did one, not the one with the sensors, but this other one. You had to find a tunnel hatch in the woods and tunnel a mile before you even got to the first building.
Jeez.
Pitch black tunnels.
Oh. Dang, that's you got like basically you got to truck it like a mile underground to get into the places.
To get into the first building, and then you explore that building, and you go back in the tunnels, and you continue whichever way you want to go through the campus.
I guess it makes it easier than trying to go through doors. But else
Well, yeah,
with
especially the security. Yeah,
yeah.
you know, the more time you're outside, the more chances of being seen.
Have you ever been caught then?
Never. Never. As knock on wood, there's wood on the side of me. I've never once been caught. I've seen police patrol location I was in, but we were able to hide. It was an abandoned school we did recently with power, but never had any interactions with the law as of yet. No.
You know, it's funny is that I always when I investigate, I before I started actually, I guess I don't know, getting more seasoned with it. What I wear would always be whatever, essentially. But after investigating the woods and stuff like that, I realized that you need specific stuff for specific places. So, what kind of, I guess, clothing or gear you wear while doing stuff like that?
I used to say, okay, let's wear all black. Now it's usually jeans, you know, dark colors like for hoodies and stuff or jackets. But a lot of people that I know, they'll do all black. They'll say it's easier. I mean, either way, I think in the middle of the day, you're going to get caught either way. They're going to see you no matter what color you're wearing. I mean, a lot of times when we would investigate at night, if you wore black, you blended right in, you were good. But yeah, I mean, during the day, you could be naked. They're going to see you either way.
Yeah. I bought recently these Under Armour waterproof boots just for the fact that sometimes we go in the woods, we don't get ticks or anything.
Yeah. Well, you need, I mean, if you're going to do tunnels, a lot of the tunnels we do, the water's up to your ankles, knees deep, sometimes flooded.
Oh, geez.
So waterproof boots are a must.
Yeah, as much as I would like to do urban exploring, it sounds like too much work.
it, it is. I mean, like the state school we just did on yesterday, actually, they locked a lot of the buildings up because they're trying to save them with like those metal roll down doors. But all the windows are open, but they're up 4 or 5 feet high. So you're climbing through windows, you're jumping on chairs to get into buildings, and it made a big pain in the ass. But yeah, it's not, I mean, some locations you'll go to when the door's wide open, but 25% of the locations you go to are like that.
Have you found anything interesting, like something, an object or information, or I don't know, something left behind that you were like, holy crap, and you kind of wanted to take it with you?
We've taken patient records and stuff. I actually took some yesterday, some checks and stuff from like the 70s. Patient records, the stuff you read is crazy. This dude had a seizure today. This dude bit this kid today, like crazy stuff. I mean, from down to patient records to to bone stretchers and abandoned hospitals, crazy morgues. The list goes on and on. The stuff we found, electroshock therapy machines.
No haunted objects.
I'm sure. I would assume so. I mean, I'm sure if you were there, you'd be able to tell me right away.
Yeah, you don't take that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of the hospitals we've done lately have been full to the brim with stuff.
So just like all abandoned, just like left behind.
Pretty down to the bed sheets. Yeah.
Jeez. So they really leave a place behind and leave it behind. You think they would try to at least salvage some of that stuff?
Well, back in the day, I mean, when some of those places closed in the early 80s, early 90s, there was no HIPAA laws. So they didn't care about leaving all that stuff behind. But we found a whole basement with stacks and stacks of stuff.
Yeah. I guess that's one of the things that I would like to look at. Like one of the main places, I remember heard stories about people going to like abandoned military bases, like maybe a radio station or something like that. And like going in there and seeing what was left behind, place like that always seemed interesting to me just because they might have more secrets.
Yeah, I mean, my buddy just did a police station that was pretty cool. Evidence room full still of stuff, people's belongings. Yeah, I mean, some of these places, they just leave everything, close the door, go home.
You think they would take some evidence stuff? It might be a case like, I don't know, 20 years down the line that might need, oh crap, it's in that building we left,
We did an abandoned hotel that closed abruptly one morning due to not paying taxes. Like the IRS came in, told everybody they had to leave, guests and everything. They still left liquor behind. The pool still had some water in it. Like they just left, up and left. Huge hotel.
Well, what's been one of your, I can, I mean, a place like that usually would leave some remnants of, I would assume, a haunting, just the fact it was like up and gone already. But I guess, what was one of your favorite places that you urban explored in your time?
Favorite place would probably have to be the prison I just did. I just did a medium security prison with everything left behind. Riot suits, shackles, bulletproof vests, people's belongings, again, like uniforms. They just left everything. It was a prison for men only, 440 inmates. That was abandoned for about 5 years now.
Dang. I'll try to take something.
But I mean, I wanted to, but the way the location was, it was right across from an active prison, and state police tend to lure around the building. So we were trying to get in, get shots, and pretty much get the hell out at that point. Like we even pre-dawned it. We went in at 6 o'clock in the morning before the sun came up and sat in a corner and then waited and shot the place and left.
Oh, so basically you go into any place mostly to take pictures.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the urban exploring thing, pictures and like finding the cool stuff like you said, and stuff like that. That's pretty much what it is, taking pictures of these buildings before they're gone.
Yeah. Storing history, because I guarantee you might be hit up for information stuff, or like someone to see your pictures after that building's gone.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people even like sell their prints. I've put a couple in an art gallery recently, but a lot of people are successful like selling prints, especially outside like the Kirkbride buildings, like the really nice mental hospitals like Danvers and the big ones. I'm sure you've heard of Danvers. I mean, that was one of the biggest ones.
Haunted locations, yes. Regular buildings, probably not.
Yeah. Danvers State Hospital, that was the lunatic asylum in Mass back in the day. That was where Session 9 was filmed.
Oh.
And in that hospital.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yep. Right before they actually didn't knock it down. They actually turned it into apartments. It's the same outside structure, and they just made the inside condominiums. So it's still a Kirkbride.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster. That's asking for haunting and stuff like that. It always reminds me of what they're doing to the Cecil Hotel. They're turning into actual housing development instead of actual hotel.
I tell you one thing, that's one of my dream locations for paranormal. I want to go there.
Yeah, I've heard the stories. It's funny enough. It's a question I would ask it when you dream places to investigate. But yeah, that that place, the stories behind it, everything I've ever heard, how haunted it is, the fact that there's open portals everywhere. At least what I've heard in stories and stuff like that. That would be almost, I would say, a treasure trove, but a lot of stuff going on. But they rarely ever allow anyone to investigate there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't Ghost Adventures go there, did they?
Yeah,
I think they did.
yeah,
Right after that girl died.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I was just amazed. Well, I understand why they got in, but um, the Caesar Hotel really trying not to expose any kind of paranormal stuff. Like they don't want that kind of attention.
Yeah. Yeah, that the hotels frown upon all that. I think actually I know a couple people who urban explored it when it was closed due to COVID, and they said it was one of the airiest places they ever been in their entire life.
Yeah, I would suspect as much. I remember there was a TikToker who tried to get a drone inside to look around while they were doing construction on one side of the building. He wasn't able to get it in because the signal or something, it didn't last long enough to get inside. So I was like, oh my god, I wanted to see what was in there. But
Yeah.
what's an occasion you're urban exploring that I guess like everything went wrong? Like you were just like, fuck this place. Like I hurt my ankle, or I got a scratch on my leg, I got hit in the head with this. Like I don't want to be here anymore. Like it wasn't worth it
Uh,
anymore.
um, Probably one of the most recent places we just did that one. So the location I was telling you about, the tunnel hatch, we actually had the wrong one. So it went into one building, but then everything was pretty much locked up. And we were kind of pissed off because we already walked like 4 miles already. And we seemed like one of the shittiest buildings you could see. And then we decided to go for an open door somewhere. And then that was sealed again. Because just like everything in Urbex, I mean, what's open today is closed tomorrow. So you pretty much you learn about a location and you got to go now, because if you don't, you'll probably never get in. That's how crazy it is. It's not like investigating where you go to a place that's been open for months. You did all the research. This is like get it, scout it, and get in.
You know. Speaking of which, I know you do investigating as you're doing your exploring, but has there been a place, or I guess better question is, what was like one of the most profound paranormal experience that you had that, like shook you, but like it was like, okay, this stuff is real?
Probably like going back to when we did the paranormal roundtable episode about that hospital I told you about, where we thought we were communicating with that little boy up in the children's ward.
Oh
That was
yeah.
probably one of the craziest experiences I've ever had. I mean, every time I went to that hospital, a door slammed, you'd hear a young kid cry, you'd hear groans. I mean, that hospital never ceased to not have any activity ever.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was you or someone else saying they dealt with something dark.
I think that I don't remember who that was. It was one of the people on the group, though. I don't remember who. That was going back a long time now.
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah.
Oh, saying last year is always a joke because it was only a month ago. But
Yeah.
no, I can't remember. You're saying you came across something dark, but I guess that's a better question to ask. Like, have you come across anything that you felt was like dark, or hopefully you haven't? But when you urban explore, have you come across a building that's abandoned, but you find like it's been used for like satanic worship? You find pentagrams on the walls or something?
Well, that same hospital that I broke my ankle at, there was a lot of the satanic ritual stuff, a lot of the pentagrams, but there was one of these buildings where we could have sworn like this big black figure with red eyes was following us for a while. Like I don't know if it was my eyes playing tricks on me, but we were using night vision cameras and infrared lights. And I kept seeing a tall shadow and it looked like two red dots right in the middle looking at us. It was pretty crazy, but we didn't hear like no crazy noise or nothing, but we kept getting like 666 on the spirit box for a while too. It just wouldn't stop saying six, and we couldn't figure out why.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It was pretty creepy.
Yeah. And where was like I guess the spot where you found all that stuff?
That was a mental asylum. And
Someone broke
it's
in.
been closed for a while.
And like, did they do it in like the basement or like they pick a specific room?
There was rooms all over the place with that stuff. I mean, this place was loaded with graffiti, but a bunch of it was in the basement.
Jeez.
They would set up chairs in the circle and draw the pentagrams, candles, all that crazy shit.
Yeah, I feel like there's some places you could take them to if I ever went to go visit over in Massachusetts.
If you came out here, there'd be probably 5 off the top of my head right now that you'd probably really enjoy.
Yeah.
Just because of your special abilities that you've told me you've had on the last podcast, you would probably enjoy it. But then they'd be dead after that.
Yeah, there wouldn't be much activity anymore.
No.
Well, at least on the dark side of things anyway.
Yeah.
I guess, where exactly are you located in Massachusetts?
Like 30 minutes south of Boston.
Oh, okay. No, I have a coworker who works, who is from Boston, and I can tell by her accent. Granted, it's not as heavy as it would be if she was still from there, but she still uses terminology that gives away that she's from that area. But
yeah.
She said she's always from Lawtown.
Yeah. That's like north. Yeah.
But yeah, I won't say you have a Southie accent, but it's there.
yeah. A lot of people say that.
Yeah. I guess in that area, what is like known for being one of the most haunted locations?
I
know Boston
area.
I know Boston itself has its famous ones, but I guess in your area,
the one that's closest to me is the Lizzie Borden's house. I'm sure you heard of Lizzie Borden.
That's near in South Boston.
No, well, where I live I live south of Boston. So I live in like a small town called Westport, but it's right on the line it's 5 minutes from Lizzie Borden's house.
Shit.
Well, from both their houses, the house that her parents she lived at before she got acquitted, and then the original one where she supposedly killed their parents in.
Yeah, that's one place I want to visit. Yeah.
I almost took a job there being a tour guide for their paranormal nights. I almost took the position, but it didn't pay enough, and it was like 2 nights a week.
That'd be pretty cool just to be there at the same time.
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't know that was that close to you. Or at least I didn't know.
Yeah.
For some reason, I keep thinking like more like Midwest, not so over closer to where I live on the East Coast. Yeah.
No, far East Coast. Yeah.
Mm.
The second closest thing is probably, I'm sure you've heard of it, Rolling Hills Asylum.
Yes.
East Bethany. Yep.
That's another location, I guess, on the top list of places to go. Because I know closer to me is the Devil's Tramping Ground, a place that I'm most likely going to go to within this year.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Because it's open area. It's a park. You can technically go to it, so it's not like you have to pay to go investigate.
We want to do Brushy Mountain really bad.
Where's that?
Tennessee, the penitentiary.
Oh,
it was the death row penitentiary. They called it the end of the line. You went there to die, pretty much.
Yeah, that would have some activity. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah, it's rated for real high activity.
No.
Actually, Destination Fear went there last year.
Oh, I know. Actually, the only episode I ever watched from them was the one they did of the Trans Allegheny Asylum.
Yeah, they did Waverly Hills, all the new episodes. You got to watch them. They did a lot of good places.
When it comes to the times you were urban exploring / investigating at the same time, have you ever? I mean, you saw the Dark Shadow, but have you ever been like touched or scratched or anything at the time of being anywhere by something paranormal?
Not me, but one of the old members on my team actually went to Lizzie Borden's grave at like 2 a.m. to do an investigation and ended up getting scratched to the point where she was bleeding. I seen pictures of it. I wasn't there, but I guess they were trying to antagonize the father. And supposedly the story was that the father raped Lizzie and that's why she killed him. So I guess he had a thing for females.
Crap. I don't. There is.
Yeah, it's. You got to do the research. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, I've heard different stories about like what the whole reason behind it and all that stuff, but I think there's a grave. Some extended family of the Bordens is buried out around here in North Carolina.
Wow. I know the mother, the father, and the 3 daughters are buried in the cemetery, which is like 10 minutes from me too. All in one big plot.
Have you ever gone to like an old graveyard?
Have you ever heard, I'm sure you've heard this because it's famous, Spidergate Cemetery?
I know the name. I just don't remember exactly what it looks like. I've heard the name.
It's out in Leominster. Yeah, that was a creepy one. Supposedly it was right near an asylum, and some kid hung himself from one of the fences out there, and he's supposed to haunt the graveyard. It was, that was pretty crazy.
What did you experience there?
It felt really, really eerie. We felt like we were being followed. We were being watched the whole time we were there. I know someone who went after me took something off a grave, like a rock or something, and had to go put it back because they had shit happening at their house. Doors slamming shut and stuff. It wasn't fun.
No, it's never a good thing to take things from a graveyard.
That's what I always knew. So I was like, why would you do that? But some people like to play with fire before they get burned.
Yeah, not unless you have some kind of an ability, not per se mind, but something to protect you from such things. But it's never a good practice to take something from somebody's grave. They're gonna want it back.
Yeah. Well, there's been stories of people taking stuff off of the Boylan's graves too and having to put it back. I guess there's a bunch of like stones and stuff that people have put in there over the years, like family members and stuff. And people have done it. And it was actually, I think one made the news or something.
Well, that was just dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a case like that, I mean, I don't know. That's asking for trouble when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I know urban exploring usually means urban in a sense that you're in the city and most buildings and stuff like that. But have you ever took your skills outside in the woods?
I mean, we've done like some cabins and houses, mansions in the woods, water towers to get like really good shots, like climbing 40, 50 foot water towers. The smallest metal ladders you can possibly imagine. Crazy stuff like that. I mean, it's exhilarating though. I mean, you get scared, but then you get to the top and you're like, whoa, this is pretty cool.
You ever experienced anything spooky in the woods?
Only time I have is when I'm sure you've heard of the Bridgewater Triangle. I'm right in the smack dab of that too.
Yes.
Yeah, Freetown State Forest is right 15 minutes north of me, and that's smack dab in the Bridgewater Triangle. I mean, we've had parties out there. We've seen stuff in the woods, stuff crawling in the woods, like shadows of stuff. I guess the KKK used to have stuff out there too, and it's all Indian grounds and stuff too. There's a lot behind it, but I don't like being alone in there at night. That place freaks me out.
Yeah, I bet it would.
It's bad. I know you'd like it, but I don't know. I did it one time alone. I went out there 4-wheeling alone by myself, and you get out of the car and you're like, no, it's time to go.
No, it's funny enough. There's always a lot of locations around. Well, here it's mostly wooded areas and the trees. Granted, I guarantee we probably share the same style of forest. At least how the trees grow here on the East Coast. But the Croatoan National Forest is the only place I ever gone in the woods. Majority of the time, I think so. Yeah. Well, that the Octagon House as well. But I guess forest wise, the Croatoan Forest usually went to, and I mean, granted, I never thought we would see anything out there. Granted, just woods, but haunted stuff spirits seem to find us regardless of where we are, especially a place that even remotely would be. But anything native land owned, or at least they have some kind of connection to. It always seems very active, and that's what I always wondered about the Massachusetts area, because I know natives. I don't forget what tribes lived around that area, but that's always like I want to know if you actually spent time in the woods and probably heard anything out there.
Yeah. I like I said, when we were kids, we used to hang out in those woods all the time. But I mean, now I go out there knowing what I know, and I'm like, I'm petrified unless I'm with a group of people.
Yeah, my team's down to 4 as of now, so there's only 4 of us actually go any locations. And we got a few coming up.
That's still a good group, though. I mean, four is still a good steady group.
Yeah. Wait,
we had 7. We had 7 at one time, and that kind of was like we're down to 4 now. I mean, I run my page by myself. I mean, all my people left, but my buddy went and started his own. So we kind of run our groups together and investigate together. He's a Jocko Paranormal Investigations out of Taunton, Mass. So Middleborough area. Him and his girl and her friend does it, and we all link up and do it together. So
yeah, I don't know. It just. Well, I guess what makes my team special is that we're all psychics. We all have an ability of some kind that benefits the team as a whole. But it also makes it a pain in the butt because we don't have anybody to document, to record, or take pictures or anything like that. Because majority of us are busy with using our hands, essentially. I remember you told me that you have a psychic on your team.
We used to, not anymore. We did. Okay. When I first started, we had a psychic medium. Yeah, she was awesome, but she went off and did her own thing.
Oh, that sucks. When you spent time with her when she was a part of your team, did she ever? I don't know. I guess what was her? What was like her main ability? That's something that I guess her benefited the team.
I mean, she was always the one who sensed everything first. We would pull up to a location and she's like, this doesn't feel right. Like we pulled up to locations and she's seen things in windows and pointed out. And I'm like, oh, wow, there's really someone there. Like she's like you, she could sense the activity before we actually seen it.
But if I can ever see anything. So,
well, I mean, not physically seeing it, but you know, in your senses that something's there.
Yeah. Interesting.
You know, obviously we can't physically see this unless it's a shadow, but
yeah. And it just the whole, I guess the aspect when it comes to that. But funny enough, I remember I'll classify. I know I talked about it on the roundtable and stuff like that, and I can't remember your answer specifically if you got interrupted by someone else during the time, but. I know we talked about how there was like 3 classes of paranormal teams. There's the class 1 who just out there to get clout, stuff like that, and just doing it for fame, trying to be the next Ghost Adventures. And there's the class 2s who are trying to collect evidence, trying to make communication, but respect the dead and stuff like that. And of course, there's the 3rd, which is mine, who are strictly out there just to eradicate darkness and make places less haunted, which is like, goes against the grain of most paranormal investigators of what are supposed to be doing, but that's just what we are supposed to do. But I see you have respect for the dead and stuff like that. So when it comes to investigating stuff like that, what is, you would say, your main goal? Like, what is something that you're looking to find?
Our main goal is to just pretty much communicate and talk to them. A lot of times, like, we want to find out why they're there, maybe, why they died, to just communicate. I mean, we're not here for the likes, the fame. I mean, I got no subscribers on my YouTube. It doesn't bother me. We're out there to just uncover all this shit, I mean, this is stuff we all want to know, make people a believer. There's people out there who see my sweatshirt and they're like, oh, you hunt ghosts? Like, is it real? It's hard to explain to people, but yeah, it's real.
Yeah, I usually scare the shit out of people when I tell them stories of things I've been through. And I always get to, that ain't for me. I'll never do that.
No, you had some good stories on the round table. I mean, learn about all the abilities and stuff. It blew my mind. I mean, it's definitely freaky for sure.
Yeah, I always thought I was one of a kind until I met Charisse. She probably is the only other one besides the other woman, Jane. I met the other shadow walkers. But it's funny enough, the term shadow walker, I think, is not the best term for it. Granted, that's what I guess I call myself with my ability, but I actually bet we found a better terminology for it when it comes to it. It's someone who has EMAs, or energy manipulation abilities. Those people, like my wife, like our lead psychic on our team, Mike, who can manipulate the energy around them, whether it be dead or alive. And me and my wife were like trying to figure out how would you call that? What would you call that? Like energy manipulation ability, or EMA, which I'm hoping to get that phrase or that terminology coined, or trademark, so people know I came up.
No, that actually,
yeah,
I like that. No, I like
yeah.
that. That's got a good ring to it. You're going somewhere there for sure.
Yeah, and it's I guess like other, because you always think about psychics when they have energy or EMA technically. It never seems to be the same. Like there's not someone like me versus someone like Charisse versus like someone like Jane or like my wife when it comes to abilities and stuff like that. But I mean, that's what we count a majority of time with our abilities. But that's why I like the other side of it when it comes to investigators, those who don't have psychic abilities, because they're not distracted by and the emotions of the dead around. What they see is what they see. Like your connection to not having any abilities makes your validation when you see something more, I guess, more proof, because you are not being influenced by any ability. What you're seeing is right in front of you.
Yep.
Yeah. Which makes me wish I had someone like you on my team.
I was just gonna say that, like, I could be the person to do all your videography and pictures and enjoy everything.
Yeah, if you live closer.
I might have to come down and make a trip this summer and do something with you guys.
That'd be cool, because we try catching footage and stuff like that. Our best hope, our best chance for catching anything is probably hooking up GoPros to us and catching evidence or catching footage from our point of view.
I mean, I've done that too. I used to have a camera on a tripod, down the hallway or something where we were investigating, and then we all wore GoPros on our chests or on our heads, and just put all the evidence together. I mean, you got to work with what you got, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, it's probably going to wait till tax time so I can actually buy these things.
Yeah. I'm telling you, even like a regular camera 1080p or something on a tripod, that's your best bet, because no one has to man it. You just leave it there and let it record.
Have you caught anything on your cameras?
The most we've caught was at that hospital. We bought these little toys, like the McDonald's toys you would get in a Happy Meal. It's like the little figurines where you push the button, the thing would light up and make noise. We brought one of those to that hospital, and we would touch it, and we thought we knew this kid's name was Charlie. So we'd be like, Charlie, touch it. And we'd walk away and the thing would light up. So we knew for sure that he was interacting with that toy. And we actually caught it on camera lighting up and everything.
Dang. I know, because like people, there's like they sell like teddy bears that have that, like their REM pods.
The scare bears.
In. Yeah.
Yep.
Specifically,
it's pretty much my basic REM pod put in a teddy bear to try to attract more. It's not anything special, I don't think. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's something I guess we never really dealt with much kids' spirits, except for one location we ever came across. Well, two. The Webb Library in Moorhead, North Carolina. We had like kids' spirits and stuff like that. But we did try to get them to touch a REM pod, but they weren't having it. They felt more at peace for trying to get books read to them. But it was a library, so when you expect and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing. That part of the hospital was actually the children's ward. So I think that's where we heard a lot of the young kids crying, and you'd hear like little moans and stuff, and it was all, you could tell it was young kids.
Dang. Yeah, a hospital on that scale, even abandoned one, I've yet to be to.
It was a tuberculosis sanatorium, and then I think they found the cure for tuberculosis, it was like the city hospital for that town. So it was like a general hospital afterwards.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if you can feel it. I know a psychic like my wife or even myself, I don't really consider myself a level that kind of psychic, but could feel the emotion or the heaviness in there. But if it's haunted as you say it is, you should be able to feel that, like the heaviness.
No, I definitely felt in that one hospital, especially the morgue and probably the children's ward, you definitely would feel like someone's sitting on your chest at some points, and you were always on edge in the place. There was not a dull moment where you would walk through this building. I mean, doors slamming, you could hear like people dragging their feet, like people walking down the hall. We would always go at night. I think I went maybe once or twice during the day to get some good pictures of the place because they're in active demolition right now, but I always went 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to this place.
Has there been any like pictures during the day that you took that you caught something profound in the picture?
I looked and looked and looked, and I had other people look, and we determined it's just dust balls, asbestos. I thought I caught a couple of good orbs, but it's not, unfortunately.
No. That you might cut like a giant figure coming around a corner or something.
When I took the medium there her first time, she swore she saw 2 nurses walk down the hallway, and I thought I seen something too, but it was weird because right after she said that, the door was like cracked open a little bit and then it shut. So maybe she was right, but and see it. I was in the room actually filming on the GoPro when she supposedly saw it, but she said it was 2 nurses that walked down the hall and you could actually hear the door creaking shut.
Oh, geez. Yeah, there's a lot of places I will in that area I need you to take me to just because I probably could clear it out.
I mean, you've never really been to a state hospital, pretty much, or like an asylum.
Not around these parts. I would have to go all the way to either South Carolina or Raleigh or Charlotte for the next big city. I grant there's probably some in between there that I don't know of, but as of where I live in this area, no, nothing's been big enough city-wise. Maybe Wilmington.
Yeah,
I would say Wilmington probably has its share, but around here in Jacksonville and surrounding areas where normally we investigate, like in Hubert, Swansboro, and Cape Carnet and Moorhead, nothing of that level. Most everything.
That's right. Because I even talked to people who live out in Florida who urban explore too, and they say there's not really much abandoned places around there anymore either.
No,
you have to travel.
Yeah, so much land development and them destroying and putting back things up. I guess it just makes that area a destination for people to live versus people leave the Massachusetts area, and that's why buildings are left the way they are because no one's wanting to buy the land and turn it into something else.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them are apartments. The one we just did the other day, they're trying to turn back into like a nursing home / condominium place. And it's just so far gone. I don't know how they're going to do it. Honestly, it doesn't make sense. They spent $40 million on the property alone to buy it, and they've already started knocking down buildings and locking them up, though. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're really going through with it. But they did. They actually did a Christmas light show, like a drive-through, this year and last year, and like all the receding towns and everything were petitioning, saying like, "Why are you doing a light show at this crazy haunted place? It has nothing to do with Christmas." But they did it anyways. They had this crazy drive-through with all these different things set up, like Santas and snowmen, and like this big dome that you would drive under with all lights and stuff. And it looked cool, but it's just like bad location for it.
I would say, hey, come to Bobby Mackey's.
It's like 800. I want to say it's roughly 800 acres of land. At one point, there was like 40 something buildings. There's probably maybe 15 now.
Yeah, so a lot of places have been teared down. And that's what I've been finding out with destroyed buildings when it comes to land and property and the spirits that are there. Most of the time they will haunt a location because they're familiar with it. Or it's the last place they died. Especially with souls that have been taken so suddenly, i.e. hospitals and asylums. Asylums especially because you have a mind that's broken that most likely doesn't think it's dead. So that's why my will stay there. So asylums always seem to be at the top of my list to go to, because I guarantee you after I go to one, it's not going to be as bad as it was before I got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd clear it. It would just be an empty building at that point to urbex. Yeah. I mean, it's same thing with like Lizzie Boylan's. Like they actually knocked down half of the barn and stuff to make like parking. And I asked the people, I'm like, did any of the haunted activity go away because you took some of the property away? And they said it actually got worse.
Everything moved.
Everything moved into the house.
Yeah. There's still places around here. I know Megan was telling me something about us possibly investigating an abandoned prison, something small around here. I can't remember the name what she was talking about, but I
know there's one in Miami. I have the location. Someone just gave it to me. It's tiny. It was probably had to be like 200 inmates.
It's not top of my list to go down to Florida. Well, I think I'm closer to you than I am close to Florida.
You probably are, yeah. I mean, I know there's one in New Orleans that they left like 800 inmates there when Katrina came, and they left them there to pretty much fend for themselves. Because we wanted to go urbex when we hit Six Flags up this summer.
Well, there's plenty of locations that I would want to go to. What's not necessarily a place you want to investigate, but maybe it's somewhere one of your dream spots that you would like to urban explore?
Well, back to what I was just talking about. I think at the top of the list right now is probably going to be Six Flags.
The music
a lot
park?
of people have been going there. Yeah. Just, I mean, a lot of people say, well, why? A lot of people, because a lot of urbexes are like they tend to one thing. Like a lot of people will do churches, a lot of people will do hospitals. I'm more of everything. But lately, I've been like the thrill seeker. Like I like to climb stuff, so I want to climb the roller coasters. I want to take pictures, and just to see it. You know.
Isn't there a abandoned? We call it what's the dang thing? Over the Rainbow, I think. What's the name of that name movie? It just escaped my mind. Somewhere.
Alice in Wonderland?
No. Wizard of Oz. That's right. I'm sorry.
Wizard of Oz.
Abandoned Wizard of Oz amusement park that's somewhere near you. I know it's in the northern east coast. Or northern east area.
There was an abandoned one up in New York, towards Canada, but someone recently bought it after the first wave of COVID and reopened it. It was actually the theme park that Jim Carrey used to go to.
No.
I don't know if that's the same one.
I don't know. I just remember it's on that list of places, like abandoned places that you don't want to go to, because it's just so creepy. But yeah, it's like a Wizard of Oz.
Oh, wait a second. You're talking about Lake Shawnee in Virginia.
Okay. I know it's somewhere
Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. Yeah, it's been abandoned for a long time. It's on like this haunted Indian land or something. Yeah, I've been wanting to go there. I know what you're talking about. That's like eerie. Like that's a place that you want to investigate.
I don't know how it would be haunted. I just think it's just creepy.
Because a lot of people died there, like workers and stuff. I heard when they were like setting up or something, and then there were a lot of reports of kids dying, falling off of rides and stuff. I mean, this was going back in the early 80s, I think.
Didn't know that. I just remember it's a Wizard of Oz abandoned amusement park.
Yeah, I think that's the one you're talking about. I'm pretty sure, because there's not many that I know of. I mean, there is one. You're in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
There's one in North Carolina.
Abandoned amusement park?
Yeah. I'll have to message it to you, because if I say the name of it publicly, I'm going to give it away. But there is one. It's not far from you.
I gotta check it out now. I know the top of the list right now is a Devil's Tramping Ground, just to test it against my ability.
I don't know if this amusement park would be haunted, but it'd be cool if you were the urbex. You know, it'd be like getting your feet wet, kind of, because you don't have to worry about getting into no buildings and nothing. It's all open.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of I'm not climbing that, or I'm not climbing that. I'm not climbing that.
Yeah. See, recently got into the climbing. I mean, when we did this big abandoned asylum out in Connecticut, I climbed the bell tower on one of the buildings. It was like 25, 30 feet up. And ever since then, I just started climbing.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm out of shape, but I'm not in the shape to go climbing high on a lot of locations, stuff like that. It's not I'm not fear of heights. It's just I know I won't be able to make it up there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said too. And then I went up my first time and I was petrified of going down. But I said that's the only way to get down is to climb back down. Just don't look down pretty much at that point.
No, the only thing that scares me about doing anything like that is crawling in tunnels underground.
I've done it and it's still in the back of my mind because I mean, a lot of them are really good, but did ones that were like really falling apart. Yeah, caving in on you. You're done. You're dead. I mean, some of these tunnels are 6, 7, 8 feet underground.
And it's mostly like like crawling on like your elbows and your hands like through spots you got to squeeze through and like you got to basically like fit your way. Almost I would say almost like cave, like almost like trying to go through caves and stuff like that.
Some of the tunnels we do, you can stand up in them. They were actually service tunnels. That was the access tunnels into the buildings, like the water pipes and everything run through these tunnels. They call them steam tunnels. I've never really had to really crawl on my hands and knees. Maybe and the one that we did that was really decrepit and falling apart, but most of them you can walk right in them like you're walking down the hallway.
Yeah. It's funny, it never was a problem, but after I became a bigger guy in a sense like that, I am always afraid of getting stuck.
No, I mean, I hear you. I mean, I've done some windows. I'm like, I don't know how the hell I got through that window. Getting stuck is the biggest fear. Getting your hand stuck or getting stuck going through a window is probably one of my biggest fears. Getting stuck and getting crushed.
Oh. Yeah, not dealing with demons, getting crushed.
I mean, I've like I told you on the round table and like Sharice, when I first started, I was bad. I used to provoke the spirits. And then I learned my lesson a couple times and I said, it's time to respect them a little bit more, but they never really, I was more excited when I communicated with them than I was petrified.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at the time. Going on an hour here, which is a pretty good way to wrap it up now.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Where can everybody find you?
We changed the name to Cory Med Explores for the YouTube channel, but we still have Paranormal Hunters and Masks on Facebook, so you can still find the page there, and it has all the links to the Instagram with all the pictures and stuff like that.
Awesome. And your Instagram handle?
Instagram is Cory Med Explores as well. It's all on the Facebook page and the YouTube. They're all linked together.
Okay. And I guess, we're most likely going to bring you back when we do the roundtables again.
Sweet. I'd be pumped for that.
Yeah. I can't tell you when, because I don't even know. I think Megan's trying to put it together right now. But yeah, so
nice.
We'll definitely hear from you again when it comes to that. But yeah, I do appreciate coming on.
Thank you, brother.
All right. And as always, we'll catch your weirdos in the next one.